At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Welcome back, everybody, and Happy New Year if you're here in the States. I am one of your hosts this week, Professor Chris G, and on the other line with me is my New Year compadre. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, but I'm trying to figure out how you think they do New Year's in other countries.
Well, they do. It just our New Year doesn't line up with like Japan's New Year or China's New Year.
Well, I mean, symbolically, no, but by virtue of the way a calendar works, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but just like we're recording this on January 3rd, so 2 days ago, it was not New Year's around the rest of the world.
Well, no,
So,
but it also, I mean, I see what you're saying.
I think you're beating your head too much.
Well, probably, you know.
I think did the world turn one too many times for you, bro?
Well, you know what? You know what?
Hey, you walked into it. But how are you doing in 2024? This is the first episode of 2024, bro.
Yes. So far, so good. It's only what,
3 days.
3 days as we're recording it, 5 as it goes out or whatever ends up happening. So, I mean,
Yes. So
nothing crazy has happened. I mean, I'm just kind of chilling. You, on the other hand,
yeah, I'm chilling. I got some new things going on in my life. Let's see. I'm nice and relaxed. I'll just put that out there. I don't have to be. I literally got 2.5 weeks off of work, which is phenomenal. I love breaks like this. Like my batteries are fully refreshed.
now there is a danger of overcharging the
Yes.
batteries.
Oh yeah. And if I do, so be it. and and I have a new TV in my home. Well, as of this record, like by the time this goes out, I got a big ass new TV that I'm happy to talk about. It's
Yes, and we're still trying to figure out what you're going to watch on it first.
I don't know. I got a new TV, got a nice system going on inside of the professor's home, and I don't know what I'm gonna put on first. Is there any like because I from when we watched AEW this past weekend, one of our friends was here and he talked about I think it was called Moonrise.
Oh, was it Moonrise Kingdom?
Yeah, something like that. But I ended up watching it, and that was a decent movie. I think they could have done like if they had a bigger budget, made the background and everything look a little bit realer. But the story itself was not that bad, even though I went online and the critics tore that movie to crap.
Well, that usually means the movie ended up being good because, in my experience, if the critics are loving a movie, that means it's dull and it's slow and it's
Awful.
emotional, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but
So yeah, I mean it had a good premise. It's how did he say it? He said it's Star Wars meets 300, which I could see where he got that. I could definitely see where he got it. I think it's more along the lines of Star Trek meets Star Wars in my eyes.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. So that because I mean, there's a lot of dialogue, which is your typical Star Trek movie, but there's a lot of action, which is your Star Wars. So
Right. So
yeah.
you kind of had the best of both worlds going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
But how was your holiday, bro?
It's pretty good. Pretty low key. Got some awesome gifts. Got $100 in PlayStation credit. So
Ooh, what are you using it on?
I'm going to get either WWE 2K when it comes out or MLB The Show 24 because those are my most expensive games of the year. And if I can get one of those games at a steep discount, I'm going to take advantage of it.
And you pay for the PlayStation Plus, correct?
Hmm.
So you automatically get a discount when those games come out on digital, right?
Well, you know what? You would think so. And I mean, I know Madden does that. Like you get like 10%. Like you get 10% when you order like on the in-game menu, and then you get another 10% because you're a PlayStation Plus. So like I can get $100 game for like
$80.
$80 or something like that. I mean, it's pretty sweet, but um and I know every once in a while like a discount will pop up. Like I remember when AEW came out, I got 10% because I had PlayStation Plus. So I mean,
They should have been given 30% off on that game. That game was horrible.
I guess I'll keep my eye out. Um, because I mean, if somebody wants to give me 10%, I'm not going to turn my nose up at it.
I
But
feel you. But
I'm
WWE ain't giving no damn discounts.
no, not until Christmas time next year.
Yeah, for real. Oh, you can get this game for 30% off and we'll give you all the DLC that we put out there that everyone else bought already.
Oh, cool! The game that's going to be obsolete in like 3 months.
Yeah. so
So
that's
so yeah, I've stocked up on some PlayStation credit, and I got. You were kind enough to give me a couple books that I'm really excited to dive into.
ooh, speaking of, one of the books that you got me, bro, I'm already halfway done with one of them.
Oh damn, yeah, you were when I was over there watching the show. You're like, I might watch one or watch one. I might read one of these, or start one of these tonight.
Oh, and I
I guess
did.
you weren't kidding.
I did. I started it and I got an audio book for it as well, so I'm listening to the audio book while I have the book in my hand and I'm reading it in bed at night and it is great, bro. Thank
That's
you.
how I used. I well, absolutely. That's how I used to read the Harry Potter books because I really liked the narrator because he would do like different voices and stuff. He like got into it, and I was like, I appreciate this.
You ready? You ready to dive on into this show, bro?
I'm ecstatic.
All right. I'm going to give a little bit of a background like we do for everything else. Pokemon Concierge is a stop motion animated TV series. I wanted to make sure I got that right. And it was made in Japan. Each episode is between 15 to 20 minutes. Just like Doug said, there's 4 episodes, and we're going to be covering all 4. Today we are doing the one titled I'm Haru, the new concierge, or translated from Japanese, I'm supposed to start working here today, is what it's called in Japanese. Um, and this was released.
I wouldn't have hated that title.
I wouldn't have hated it either. And surprisingly, and this is gonna tickle you, Doug. This was dropped here in the states and in Japan the same exact day on Netflix of December 28th, 2023.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they did a combo drop for the episodes.
I
So
was not expecting that.
um, and I'm just going to go ahead and say I will be giving the names of the episodes going forward, but I don't need to give the date, everyone. If you're listening to this going through, every single episode dropped on December 28th. I don't need to state on each episode when it came out, because they all came out on the same day. So I'm just
Don't
going
don't worry, folks. He's saying that now. He'll say it in episode 2, and I'll give him shit
to.
about it. And
You would too. You're like, you said you wasn't gonna say the date. Well, shut it.
force a habit.
Yeah, it is. So, but yeah, everyone, that is it. We have four main characters: Haru, Watanabe, Tyler, and Alyssa are the names of the characters in this show. I have Netflix pulled up here. Everyone can watch this on their Netflix account, everyone. If you have Netflix, go ahead and watch this. Give it a watch, because the more people that watch it, and if it becomes like a really, really great hit, which it looks like it has, because it was on Netflix top shows of the week. Because when I saw it, it was number 7. So,
Right.
and I'm sure as of now it's still trucking up, because even my cousin, who's not a big Pokemon watcher, even messaged me and was like, "Hey, what's the deal with this Concierge?" And I was like, "You know what? I don't even know." I was like, "It's on my list, but I have no idea." And I'm glad that I'm watching it now, and I'm sure he'll be listening to this as well. So, are you ready to jump on in, bro?
I I would like a point of clarification with um is it Wantan Wantaname? Is it Watanabe?
Um,
Because I
I'm
thought I heard Watanabe.
You know what? Let's say Watanabe.
Okay.
Let's just say that if we watch the second episode and we're pronouncing it wrong, we're sorry. But luckily, she's not in a lot of this episode anyway, so we'll only get it wrong a couple times. So
Right. And if we do get it wrong, and I mean it's blatant when we watch the second episode, we'll come on here and the first time we see her, we'll hold our hands up and we'll apologize for
yes,
trying too hard to cover our bases.
yes. So, but all right, I'm pulling it up now. I got the Netflix logo, and it's starting. It says a Netflix series, everyone. And we start off with with this girl whose name is Haru. So Haru is she's on the phone, and um, she's on the phone with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend's breaking up with her. He's like, it's just not working out. So bye, babe.
It's just not working out. So, bye, babe.
Last week on Saturday, my boyfriend of 6.5 years broke up with me in a text message. The next day, Sunday, I wore my favorite shoes and immediately stepped in gum. On Monday, I was late for a vital presentation. On Tuesday, my work bestie quit.
Wednesday, I trimmed my eyebrows all wrong. Thursday, I spent 3 hours making curry and it sucked. Friday, I made a big presentation and then lost the project to somebody else.
And on Sunday, I stepped in gum again.
So great. What a way to start. Her life seems to be spiraling. She has no idea what to do next, everyone. And we literally go straight from that to a high view of a boat with some wingull flying through. And she's like, and because of that, I am now here. And then she's looking over a boat, and this is when we finally start getting the real artwork within this animation. Like, great artwork and great detail. She's looking at her phone. She's like, "Hey, Daddy, look." Or no, this is someone in the back. It's like, it's a bunch of wingull. And the dad's like, "Ah, you're right." And she's looking over the boat, and she sees a big island. And there it is. There's the island of Pokemon Concierge. And we get a close up of a Wingo, which I'm not gonna lie. Like I literally want to pinch this Wingo because this Wingo looks so freaking cool, doesn't it, Doug?
Yeah, and it was the close up on I mean this was the first one, but you could really tell when they get in close on some of the other Pokemon later in the episode, you could really tell that they were leaning hard into puppets for the Pokemon.
Yes.
Because you can really see like the felt texture on the material, and I was like, that's fucking brilliant. Because like the human animation, it's that stop motion, that
The clay.
claymation stuff.
Yeah.
But when they get into the Pokemon, it's puppets, and not just like slapdash bought at the dollar store puppets. Like you could tell there was some effort put in these puppets. Like Wingo was just the first one, but there's an Eevee later. Um,
There's a
there's a
Metagross later.
there's a, and that one wasn't fucking easy. I'll tell you that much.
I know. So we have a Wingle and it's just sitting on the side of a boat, and then we get a wide shot everyone, and everyone is departing off of this really really nice blue, dark pink and light pink boat. There's a trainer with her Pidgeot, and then we have Haru, and she's exiting the boat and she's walking, and you hear people going like, "Oh, look, it's a ferret." And she's like, "The Pokemon Resort." She's like, "I can't believe I'm actually here." And then we have a vine come up, and then we have what looks like, and I'm guessing they put more effort into this, and just to make it look so superb. But Bulbasaur pokes her on the shoulder with its vine to give her her what are those things called? Because I always call them the wrong thing.
Well, I'm a little upset because we're not even 2 minutes into this episode and somebody's already getting laid. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's called a lade. There you go. Bulbasaur is giving Haru a lade, and Bulbasaur just looks so good. Man, if you guys can watch this show, just do it. Do it. I mean, if you don't have Netflix, go and take a look at some online pictures of this show. Everybody.
Well, look up the trailer on YouTube. Everybody's got access to YouTube.
Yeah. So, and Bulbasaur, and she's like, "Oh, it's a Bulbasaur," and she's like, "Huh? Is that for me?" And Bulbasaur puts the lid over her head, and she's like, and then we hear, "Oh, so you're the new employee. Thank you for traveling so far to get here." And she's like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Oh, sorry. Do you work here?"
Oh, sorry. Do you work here? Excuse me. I'm supposed to start working here today. My name is Haru.
I'm Ms. Watanabe. Ms. Haru, welcome to the Pokemon Resort.
Thank you so much.
So, Haru and Miss Watanabe are walking into uh, the main entrance of the resort, the front entrance of the resort, and the doors open, and we're just met with a wall of Pokemon. There's a Skiploom, and there's a little Charmander with a lei, and there's a Rattata on the counter, which in New York would be disgusting, but apparently here, because it's Pokemon, it's cute. Um, there's a freaking Dratini indoors, which I thought was a little ridiculous. Not a Dratini, a Dragon. Yeah, Dragonite.
Yeah, Dragonite.
Which I thought was a little ridiculous because I thought Dragonites were huge, but I guess maybe the ceilings are high. I don't know. I wasn't involved in the construction of the building. There's what's a lantern Pokemon?
Lampent.
He's got a couple of bags. Um, and it's beautiful. And Haru's looking around. and we get to the pool area, and she's like, "Oh, so Pokemon can also stay here as guests," and that's when we see the Metacross
Which looks
being
slick.
just and you can see like the metallic nature of him, which is so funny compared to like the cloth look of the Bulbasaur, like right next to him. So seriously, whoever designed the props and stuff for this show deserves a huge hat tip. Um, and you know, his trainer kind of waves him and is like, see you later, um and Miss Watanabe is like, yes, people and Pokemon can enjoy this resort together or on their own. And Haru's like, I see. And um and she's like, sometimes the Pokemon are our staff, and sometimes we're visited by wild Pokemon.
And Pokemon just come here, and they literally, Pokemon just come here just to like kind of take a break, and they just welcome them.
And it's at that point that we're greeted by a cute little Wooper,
And
and
Wooper looks so cute when it jumps out of
just
her
an
hand.
adorable little Wooper just jumps right up into Miss Watanabe's hand, and Haru gives it a little scratch on the chin, and then Wooper has to be let down, and he bounds off to go talk to another Wooper, and they're just having a gay old time. And um, Miss Watanabe turns to Haru, and she's like, "You will be the new Pokemon concierge." And Haru's kind of sitting there like, "I see. I should have known that based on the application I filled out, but that's neither here nor there." And then we hear um, a scream off in the distance, and then we see a Rattata is being chased by a Furret,
Yeah, a
and
Rattata and a Furret.
Miss Watanabe gets down on her knee, and she kind of intercepts the Furret, and she's like, "No, no, no,
That's enough."
you know, we don't go running near the pool." And just the close up on this little Furret is just, I want one, and and um you can almost see the Furret's like, yeah, I know, but he started it. And she's like, should we take this discussion um to a place that's a bit more quiet and we have a bit more room to ourselves? Um and then Miss Watanabe says, it's the concierge job to make sure that our guests are safe, which
And she's
and
like,
then
now that you've just arrived, I've got a very important job here for you. She's like, right. She's like, good. Then today you'll stay and enjoy the resort as a guest. She's like, wait, huh?
Now then, I know you've just arrived, but I've got a very important job for you.
Right.
Good. Then today you'll stay and enjoy the resort as a guest.
Wait, as a guest? But I'm supposed to work here.
Yes, that's right. Please make yourself at home.
Right. Oh no, am I being tested here?
and we come back and we see beautiful palm trees, and Haru's just out on a walk, and she's just enjoying the scenery, and she's walking across the bridge, and she's kind of looking at all the guests, and then we see someone who appears to be an instructor, and he's surrounded by a Pansage, a Panseer, and what's the water?
A Pampor.
A Pampor.
Yes.
It's like I knew I was going to get two of them, because one of them is Silence Pokemon, and then one of them Silent battled for like 2 episodes, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
And
and you know what? I always don't feel bad, bro, because I always forget Pampor as well. I know Pansage, and I also know Panseer, but Pampor, for whatever reason, I always forget.
because it's not Pan S something, it's Pan P. It's he had to be different.
He did.
So the guy's sitting there, he's like, "Come on over and try." And Haru walks over and she's like, "Oh, you're talking to me?" And she walks over and she takes off her hat and she says, "It's nice to meet you." And she's like, "It's my first day at work." Um and the guy's like, "My name is Tyler."
So, and just so everyone knows, the names are the same in Japanese as they are in English. So they
That's
named him.
crazy.
So they named him Tyler.
That's that blows my mind.
For real.
And we got a nice close up of the pan sage on Kyle's shoulder, so you once again you can tell that it's a cloth puppet, but boy, what a puppet.
My name's Tyler, sanitation and fitness lessons, just for fun. Nice to meet you.
Oh, yeah. Who are these Pokemon?
They're on the staff with me, and you could call them my right-hand Pokemon. They can be real pranksters, so you'd better watch out.
Yeah. Oh, and so I'll be...
Yeah, you'll be doing it, right?
Yes?
Pam pours over, and he hits a button on a boombox, and then we have like a workout kind of a dance sequence, um and Haru's kind of struggling, and
They're
Pan
they're
Sage
they're
kind of
they're,
jump.
they're doing yoga.
Oh, yoga, duh. And um she's in one pose, and Pan Sage kind of jumps on her back and knocks her into the water. And this was another moment where you're like, okay, so they don't exactly have water figured out because the water didn't really react to.
When she got out of the water, I thought that the same way.
And I mean, look, I've never animated anything in my life, so who am I to be throwing shade? But I have watched enough TV and listened to enough podcasts and watched enough behind the scenes stuff. I mean, it did jump out, and if that's the only strike I take from this series, I'll shut up. But
I know. But because it jumped out at me too, because when she got out, I was like, oh, I'm waiting to see like a little bit of water like trickle down from her face or something. But I think they probably thought that that was probably a little too much work to put into the show. I don't know.
especially for essentially a 14-minute episode.
Yeah.
So, she falls into the water and Kyle just kind of picks her up and it's like, "Oh, you see what happens when you don't warm up?" And Haru's like, "I guess." He's like, "Well, come and see us again." And I hope we see more of him because it wouldn't make any sense for him to only
Well,
be in like 2
I
minutes of the whole
well, I
show.
think we are because he did make it a point because he his next line was like he's like I also teach swimming, wakeboarding, and extreme yoga. And so, and when he's saying this, I mean, you can definitely tell because they gave him that kind of bro, kind of vibe. And I'll put some of the audio in here so you're able to hear him and the way that he kind of talks. But when he's talking, he has that bro kind of voice, and he's just like he like you can definitely tell he's a surfer. Like he
Right.
just has that what's the word I'm looking for? Like that Hawaiian type vibe to him, right?
Well, no, I mean you hit it on the head. It's the bro culture.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes, I believe he's got a puka shell necklace. I mean, he's white surfer dude to the core.
Yeah. And then in the background as he's saying that we get a shot of a Psyduck looking over, and then it just walks into the bush. And then Haru is looking over and she's like, huh? She's like, what was that? And then Tyler is like, oh, hey, you need a way to get around? He's like, those orange scooters are totally free for you. and he's like, hurry up. I'm gonna leave with that. Oh no, the one of the guys is talking to his girlfriend. He's like, hurry up, I'm gonna leave without you. And they're like, oh no, wait for us. And there's one scooter left, and she goes and she grabs it. And from here, it looks like they kind of planned this to be like a break moment. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We got kind of like a small like break moment, and then we're back into the show. And Haru is riding the scooter, and she's like, "I've never been on one of these before." And she's like, "That being said, she's like that guy should look out for newbies like me, but he was not helpful." And she's like just looking around, and she looks up and there's a big shadow that goes over her, and we pan up and we see a big dragonite just flying over her head. And she's like, that was so cool. And she stops the scooter and she's like, this really is Pokemon Paradise. And she's getting ready to snap a photo. And on top of the Dragonite, we see a Bellsprout and a Hoppip that's sitting there riding. And then
Hoppip. I think I mistakenly called it a Skiploom earlier, so anybody that wrote that comment can go back and delete it.
You're good. And and then we see a nice little lady walking over to Dragonite, and Haru is like, oh, she must know this Dragonite. And she goes over and she's like, come here. And Hoppip drops off, and she's sitting here and she's playing with it. And Haru walks over and she's like, hi, excuse me. She's like, hello, my name is Haru. Today is my very first day. She's like, nice to meet you. And the girl's like, oh, my name's Alyssa. And she's like, I work here part-time every summer. Hey there, it's so nice to, oh, you work here part-time? And Mudkip runs over, and she's like, oh, you must be Mudkip's trainer. She's like, yep, it just started following me around. And she's like, did you really? You're so cute. And she starts, and the way they made Mudkip and the way they make other Pokemon, like Mudkip looks like it's a straight like clay animation, but they did such a great job with it. And okay, so they do know how to do the damn water. Okay, so Mudkip goes and sprays Haru like straight in the face. And I don't know if you can, bro, but if you can like pause the frame when the water is coming out of Mudkip's mouth and look at the detail of how it came out of its mouth, and then once it stops and then the water is like trickling down on Haru's face. Maybe they did, you know what, I'm gonna guess they did this scene first, and they're like, okay, water was way too hard to do, so we're not gonna do it in that other scene when she falls into the water.
And she's only going to be in there for like 2 seconds. Nobody's going to notice that she's not dripping when she comes out.
We did.
well, yes, but we also have too much time on our hands.
Yeah, we do. And Alyssa is like, she's like, it only does that when it's really, really happy. And she's like, oh, okay. And she wipes the water off her face. She's like, well, today is my first day, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. And Alyssa's like, do what you want. You're supposed to be a guest today, no? And she's like, I mean, that's what I was told to do. And she's like, I guess. And Alyssa's just looking over at her. And Alyssa's being a little mean the way that she's like looking at her.
She was kind of giving me Bratz doll vibes.
Yeah, for real. Okay, that there you go. That's like the perfect way to say it. Bratz dolls. So
and it just kind of, that's something that didn't hit me on my first watch this morning, but like just kind of watching her as you were doing the dialogue, I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. So, um, and she's like, I'm feeling a lot of pressure right now. And she's like, Alyssa's like, you know what? You come with me. And Alyssa's like, is she taking me somewhere where no one can hear me scream? And then we jump straight from that, and she's inside of a store, and she has on some new Hawaiian wear. And she's like, oh, this'll do. And Alyssa's fixing her collar. She's like, in here, Pokemon can get fancy too, right? And she's like, basic service. Start off with a simple trim. And then that's when we get our first look at an Eevee. Eevee looks so cool in this show.
Oh my gosh.
Just
100%.
adorable.
Just like, just has the look of something you could go on Etsy right now and buy.
Yeah.
Or, maybe if this show takes off, maybe, like Pokemon merch or whatever. But I mean, just
this,
and
if you got one of these, this is like a plush toy or something that you don't want to get dirty, because if you get a spot on this thing, it's ruined.
No, you put it up on a medium high shelf and
close it in glass.
Yes, you definitely need a glass cover, and maybe every couple of days you come by and you just dust it for habit. But this, I mean, and once again, and you might go, okay, well, Eevee's so cute. I would be willing to have it not blink, because I mean, maybe eyes. No, it blinks. It's fine. Like, they just nailed this so well.
I know. Like, it closed its eyes. It like you said, it blinks, and the animation, it sits down, and then it does like a little pose, like, oh, I'm so cute.
A little flower in its hair,
They should put this Eevee in Pokemon Go. I'll catch it yesterday.
For real, right? I mean, they put didn't they put a Pikachu with a hat on for Detective Pikachu?
Oh yeah, they've been doing it up. Like, they every year, so we'll get like a Slowpoke that'll come out, and like, say it's 2024, and then Slowpoke's just getting to the party because it has 2023 glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year they put like Hoot Hoot out with a green, I mean not a green, with a golden hat, and it has like a little vest on. They have they have Pokemon dressed up for like the New Year season, and it's just so cute the way they have them. And Pikachu was no different. Pikachu has its own thing right now. They got a Jigglypuff with a nice blue scarf on, and you can evolve it into a Wigglytuff, and it'll get a bigger scarf.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so it's pretty cool. But they're talking, and she's like, and then after that, you can get a new outfit for these Pokemon, and that makes these Pokemon extra happy as well. And she's like, still kind of a thing, is all part-time though. And she's like, oh, she's like, and then all of a sudden we hear, hey, lunch is almost ready. And she's like, hey, we have free meals. And she's like, Tyler's cooking. It's better than what you think though. And she's probably thinking, she's like, oh, Tyler, I ran into him already. But then
you put pot in the food.
I know. But then we go over to her, and she's sitting on top of a green hill. And I you know what? This show made me get Chinese food today for dinner, because I was watching this and I was like, you know what? This stuff looks so good. Even though this is Japanese food, I was like, I got hungry for some Chinese. So I bought Chinese food for everyone today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but she said,
what do you mean everybody? I didn't get anything.
Yeah, you didn't. You're not here. If you were
well,
here,
you bastard.
I know. If you were here,
gotta send up the.
Gotta put the flare out there for you.
Gotta send up the Chinese food flare. What the fuck?
And she's sitting here and she's eating her nice food in her dish, and it looks delicious. Just looks like a whole bunch of like veggie rice and just some tofu. That's what it really looks like. We get a nice look of the ocean, and she says that she could feel the sea breeze and that she's in paradise. And this place is really, really great. She's like, this Pokemon resort is the best. Now we're gonna be watching 3 more episodes,
Hmm.
totaling up probably about another 40 minutes of this. There has to be like something that happens like that's kind of like troubling, right? Like
Well,
there,
yeah,
there,
there
there
has to be conflict. Otherwise, I mean, what do we do? I mean, for goodness sakes, there was conflict in Paths to the Peak. I mean, there has to be something around the corner that we don't know about.
Yeah. So I was about to say like they're setting this up perfectly. This place is paradise. This is great. Blah blah blah. And this is just the best. And she falls back into the grass and she's like, "Man, I am in heaven." She's like, "This is the first time I felt so relaxed." And she lets the wind hit her in the face, and then we transition off to the next screen where we see Psyduck looking at her. And I'm gonna hand this over to you, brother.
And so she kind of had a mini nap, and she woke up, and Psyduck was looking over her, and she kind of wakes up and she's startled. She's like, what in the world's going on?" And she's looking, and you think, "Oh, great, the Psyduck was a figment of her imagination." But thankfully, at least for the benefit of the viewer, we can see over her shoulder that Psyduck once again is retreating into the bushes. So we're like, okay, she's not losing it, and we're not losing it. So, and then we transition to later in the evening, and you can tell that because the sky is getting darker. And she walks into a hut, and she's like, "I was told this is where I could get a massage." And Mrs. Watanabe is like, "Yes, please, come this way." And she's a little surprised. She's like, "Mrs. Watanabe, this is your job?" And she's like, "It absolutely is." And she's like, "I am so skilled. I can make any Pokemon fall asleep with just my touch."
And this is where we see Pampora, Pansage, back inside of the office as well, and Panseer. Sorry, I forgot about
Mm.
Panseer. And this kind of bugged me a little bit, but maybe only because it's a kid show. Uh, do people get massages with their clothes on?
It's a kid show. You
Yeah.
you hit it. You hit it. I mean, it
And I'm not being
and it
I'm really I swear I'm not being a pervert or nothing, but it just seems so weird that she was getting a massage with like just like everything on. I just thought it was like very freaking weird.
no, it is. I mean, it would completely defeat the purpose, especially because she was wearing a Hawaiian dress shirt and slacks. It's like, well, how relaxed are you really going to get? But
Yeah.
and you made a comment before we recorded. You're like, this isn't as kid centered as I thought it was going to be because, I mean, for goodness sakes, we start the episode with her talking about, her 6.5 year boyfriend breaking up with her and, stepping in gum is kiddish, but, 6.5 year relationship. It's like, okay, so this isn't completely, just Y7 Saturday morning cartoon stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's not going to get naked, for goodness sake. I
No,
mean,
no, I
even
wasn't expecting her to, but I just like again, I thought it was really weird because like she's fully like clothed, and I'm just like,
maybe a robe.
yeah, like a robe or I don't know, like just in some type of wear if you're gonna be at getting massaged by a masseuse. So, but okay, you can go ahead and I kind of jumped in on you, brother.
No, 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 because I probably would have brought it up at some point. Maybe not now. Maybe at the end of the episode. I'm going to be, what was weird? Um, so she's talking about how she met some of the staff um, you know, and she's like, "Oh, we're all pretty interesting, aren't we?" And you can tell that, she's starting to fade and she's really she's really, feeling the massage and she's like, she's talking about how each one of the staff members she met kind of had Pokemon to call their own. And Mrs. Watanabe is like, "Yep, that's you're correct." And um, you know, because we work so closely with um Pokemon, um, you know, we naturally form bonds, and we become inseparable over time, and um, you know, and I'm sure over time, a Pokemon will find its way to you as well, and it's about at that point, um, she finally just submits and drifts off to sleep, and
If she doesn't get
uh,
Psyduck, I don't know what we're doing here.
well, it has to be right. I
Yeah,
mean, it would just be a bait and switch if she ends up
with
fourth
a
episode, she's
Charmander.
walking around with a Charmander or a Meowth just out of nowhere. Um, so she passes out, and Mrs. Watanabe is like, "I did it again," and then we cut into her room, and she's freaking out. She's like, "I was so relaxed, you know. I mean, I'm in trouble, you know. I
I
mean,
fell asleep on my boss.
I fell asleep on my boss, like literally. I mean, which is kind of ridiculous because your boss put you to sleep. So it's kind of a catch-22. But she's like, "What did I? I mean, I was clearly being tested, and I failed, and I don't know what I'm gonna do." And she's sitting there, and she's looking at her computer, and she's like, she's like, "I have to make up for it," and she starts, click clacking away, and then she pulls out, and this is probably just me either reading too much into it or
A flask.
looking to start shit. She pulls out her candy, is what I think we're supposed to think it is, but I saw those colors and I said, "Oh great, now she's taking speed."
And okay,
But
okay, and all right, and maybe this is like a big thing that maybe I shouldn't look too much into. Um, Pause the frame at 10:55, bro. What the hell is that on her fingers?
10:55. Let me
It's a
kind
close up
of
of the can that she grabbed, and it's a close up of her fingers. What the hell is that?
I don't know, but it ain't natural.
No, it's not right.
No.
Oh, you know
I
what? It's probably
looks like
candy. I think it's sugar. I think it's supposed to be that she's eating a lot of sugar,
ah,
and that's what it is. Because she
I was like,
yeah, that's not the first piece of candy that she's eaten. Okay,
there you
gotcha.
go. Because I was like, we haven't been introduced to hot Cheetos. Um so yeah, she takes a handful more of her stash, and she just starts click clacking away at her computer, and then um we are brought into the next morning, and she's sitting there, and Mrs. Watanabe is pouring a couple of cups of tea, and um she's asking Haru if she slept well last night, which I think she damn well knows the answer. Um
Morning. You sleep well last night?
I guess.
So then, what did you think of it all? Could you tell me a little about your day?
Here it is. See?
What's this?
Right. I built a report on my activities yesterday and drafted some personal work policies for myself. We know the Pokemon Resort gives a luxurious experience. so
Now,
that-
hold on. As much as I appreciate your data compilation, honestly, I was hoping you would give me a different kind of answer.
Haru's just immediately, she's apologizing, and she's like, my report has been completely inadequate, and she's like, I'll try again, give me another shot. And Watanabe once again is like, that's not at all what I meant. Um, and Haru is just, she's confused and dejected, and Watanabe's like, how was your yesterday? And um and then we have another black and white kind of freeze frame moment, and she's like, how do I know the right answer to this question? And um
You don't.
and it's at that point she kind of has a moment, and she looks out the window, and then once again we see the Pam Pokemon. We see Pampor come down, and then Pansage jumps up and pulls him down, and then we see that Panpour is holding on to Panseer, and um, she's looking, and then all of a sudden she just gets a giggle fit, and Watanabe is concerned. She's like, "Are you okay over there?" And
No, I am not.
she's like, "No, it's just super funny." And she starts like out loud, just laughing out loud, um, and she's like, I see now. I see the Pokemon here are doing what they want and having fun, and she's like, um, seeing that gave me kind of a moment of clarity about how, how silly my problems have been. Harkening back to the beginning of the episode where she talked about, her boyfriend breaking up with her and stepping in gum and losing out the presentation. And I mean, the boyfriend, I mean, you might want to take a second and think about that, because 6.5 years doesn't just fly by.
I
But
think he's gonna show up in one of these episodes.
and try to win her back, and then she's going to be like, "No, I'm happy here.
Yep.
I've finally come for the first time in 6.5 years," or whatever.
Shut up.
Um, so she's like, how silly my problems have been, and um, and she's like, I've had a lot of stress lately, and it, it's made me wonder about life, but this place just takes all the bad feelings and pops them like a balloon, and I've just been having so much fun, and got this big smile on her face, and um she apologizes because she's not being professional, and Watanabe's like, "Nope, that's it. That's what I wanted."
I did not want this presentation that you were about to present to me.
And she's like, "I wanted you to understand that it's about having fun." And she's like, "This is the proof that you are a concierge." And she's like, "The rule is you wear it while you work." And she hands over like is it like a bandana? What is it?
I think it's the thing that goes around her neck, because you look at
kerchief.
Yes, there you go.
And she's like, outside of wearing this, there are no rules. And Haru looks up, and she's like, "So what are my duties as a concierge?" And
Nothing.
Watanabe's like, "Well, I have one request." And she said, "Choose a Pokemon, and before the sun sets, I want you to make that Pokemon feel the exact same way that you do right now."
Well, we jumped straight from that, and now she's on the beach, and
She's looking at Wooper and Mudkip playing, and she's like, "Well, that's impossible."
This job is impossible. I didn't want to let her see it, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to do to complete this task. What do I do?
And
it's like she was just talking to a ghost, because who comes out at this point, bro? Psyduck.
Oh, the Psyduck. The very end of the episode, Psyduck just pops in like he's been here the whole time, and Psyduck and Haru kind of lock eyes for a second, and then Psyduck disappears into the brush, and She's like, a Psyduck.
Do you think that Psyduck flew to the island?
Well, now, have we ever established whether or not Psyducks can actually fly?
Not in the video game.
Well,
They
but
can,
in the show.
In the show, no. But maybe it swam there. Because they can swim.
Well,
they can swim. They can use surf.
They can swim, yeah. It would have to, unless it was hatched, it would have to have.
So, yeah, I guess we'll find out. What does this Psyduck mean in Pokemon Concierge? I mean, I have an inkling. I'm going to follow my inkling. I'm going to say that it's going to become her Pokemon, but not until the last episode.
Maybe episode 3.
And then boyfriend shows up in episode 4.
And then the boyfriend shows up in episode 4, and she's like, "Actually, I've been." Yes.
Oh, stop it! You know what? You're not. Wrong. You're not wrong.
Well,
it's been
might
a
be a
long
little
day.
wrong.
It's been a long day. But yeah, that there goes your very first episode. And like we said, the next episode that we put out is going to combine episodes 2 and 3, since they're more on the shorter side. And I know you guys like those combo episodes, so look forward to that next week. But what do you give this episode on a Pokemon Concierge? Well, we can't really rate it yet because we haven't seen the other ones. But
right.
You know what? We can. We can rate each one individually and then rate it as a whole at the end. So what would you give this on a Doug meter of 5 stars?
This is probably a solid middle of the road 3.
Okay.
You know, nothing crazy happened, nothing dumb happened. You know, they were just establishing the baseline of the show.
Absolutely they were. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be right there with you. I'm gonna give it a nice little 3 as well, because I feel like honestly, this is just the beginning. There has to be some type of plot line, and then there's other people listening to this and they're like, "There's no plot line. Each episode is one thing as it is." We don't know that yet.
Well, no, that would be silly.
Yeah, that would be silly. So, I guess we'll see. I'm very curious to find out what happens next. So I guess nothing's stopping me now from watching episodes 2 and 3. And then I'm sure after watching 2 and 3, I'm going to be like, man, I want to finish this, but I'm probably going to stop myself until we're getting ready to review it, because then I'm going to be putting subliminal messages out there, and I don't want that.
No, you don't need that. This is definitely just a sit back and enjoy the ride kind of show.
Yep. So, all right. Well, do you have anything else to add for this week, Doug?
No, I don't. I don't think I do. I'm excited that we started this. I'm excited that you kind of called the audible. I'm hoping to kind of ride the hype wave a little bit. I am excited that I don't know what happens in episode 2 and 3. Like,
yeah, same here.
Because so many times, like when we reviewed Path to the Peak, I mean, I know, you know, that went out as one chunk because those episodes were like 12 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we got to the end of an episode and it's like, gee, I wonder what happened. Like, we knew what happened. Like, this is so fresh. It's only been out for a week. Like, I literally don't know because I stopped myself this morning. I'm probably going to watch 2 and 3 as a chunk and then stop. You know, this is, and it's such an easy watch. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I have to watch, you know, this episode or whatever. Because there has been some Pokemon episodes where it's like, oh, nothing happens.
I know.
But this was such an easy watch, and if nothing else, just for the art style and the background and the design of the Pokemon. It's just adorable. I'm thoroughly happy that this is how we decided to start the year.
Same here. So, all right. Well, that being said, we can go ahead and go off and into the Pokeverse, and people can wait until next week to hear the next episode. So we hope that you enjoyed this week. Go ahead and say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Professor Chris G telling all of you we will see you next week for part 2 and 3, everybody. Have a good night, everyone.